So Libby, I have to start with the markets and where the markets are going, because I've talked to so many people over the past months, and they say, "Oh no, it's already baked in. It's already priced in. The markets have discounted this." Obviously, it wasn't.
Yeah, well, I think in certain sectors it certainly wasn't. I think that there's some optimism here that is being reflected in equity prices. Interestingly, in the fixed income market, which is where Pimco, participates, the rates haven't really moved very much, and I think that shows you just in terms of the reflection of growth and concerns about, how this bill will actually translate into economic growth. And I think that there is some hesitation about what actually that means.
The dollar is also losing ground.
Yeah, well, again, I think
hesitation
yes,
there.
yeah, exactly. I think that we're getting some conflicting messages from the various markets.
And also, I guess the problem here is even if you get the Senate tax bill, is the conference as an issue here?
Yeah, and I think even before we get to conference, I mean, there's still some issues that need to be resolved, as your former contributors had pointed out. And this issue about the so-called trigger that Senator Corker and Senator Flake and Senator Langford want, it's not even clear that actually is going to adhere to Senate rules. The Joint Committee on Taxation will come out with a score later today on the dynamic effects of this tax bill. That might show that this tax bill may actually not pay for itself, and that may actually cause concerns too. So even though we're much closer to 50, Senator McCain's endorsement was very significant, we're not quite there yet. But then once it does get to conference, if it does pass the Senate, there are some real meaty issues that will need to be reconciled. And I think that there's so much political will to get something done that probably political will get them there. But it's not necessarily going to be a smooth ride from here to there. Yeah,
this game is far from over. At the same time, they've made it a lot farther, a lot faster than most people would anticipate at this point. I mean, they've really got quite a bit done.
Including me, yes.
Well, fair enough. Sarah, but let's assume they do get through conference and they do get something that's passed and signed. Do we know what's in it? Because there's so many changes being made, there's such a level of detail, they could be potentially really transforming a good part of the American economy, and I'm not sure we know what's in there.
Yeah, it's a little bit curious also why the market's reacting so much, because we don't necessarily, while we have a broader brushstrokes of what's in it, the details remain to be seen. And I think that the details could lead to some unintended consequences. It's a little curious that Senator McCain even talked about the regular order process, because changing a huge piece of legislation at the last minute is not necessarily regular order. At least when I was on the Hill, it wasn't defined as such. But it's true that there could be some unintended consequences that I don't think investors necessarily are appreciating.